Ahoy music lovers, vinyl enthusiasts, and everyone in between. I'm Isaac, this is The Blind Island, and today I'm going to be hitting you up with another Vinyl Finds video. This should be the final part of April. I got a lot of heat, and I also got a little extra storage, as you can see here in the back, because things were starting to overflow. So let's get started. Gonna blast through this list. First, I'm going to be starting off with a group that I have been trying to collect all of, or a majority of their discography now, and that's The Temptations, 1990. This record is highly underrated. It was featured on Noble Records, and anyone who hasn't given a listen to any of the material that The Temptations did with Norman Whitfield, you're missing out. It's really amazing funk. So really great album. Especially recommend this record. 1990, and then what's on the table right now is The Temptations' Psychedelic Shack. Soul with a little bit of a psychedelic leaning to it. It's a little less psychedelic than the cover lends you to believe, but still a fantastic record. Featuring the first ever performance of War before Edwin Starr went on to make it a huge hit. And also just some really great songs on here, Ball of Confusion, and the title song, You Make Your Own Heaven and Hell Right Here on Earth. This is a really great album. And then next I have Masterpiece by The Temptations. Now this shouldn't really be known as a Temptations record. It's more of Norman Whitfield with The Temptations adding their vocals to it. Even the whole album artwork with the Temptations, almost like a sculpture that was made by a different artist. I think that there's a lot of hubris in this album. It's kind of a little overblown, but overall this is another slab of fantastic 70s blaxploitation style funk. Really great. If you're a fan of the Temps during all directions, that's going to be right up your alley as well. And then next I have The Temptations' Sky's the Limit. This is another great Norman Whitfield produced record with the huge hit Just My Imagination, and the first iteration of Smiling Faces. It went on to go on to be a huge hit for The Undisputed Truth, which was also produced by Norman Whitfield. But this is a great record in its own right, and looking forward to grabbing some more Temptations here in the future. Then moving on to another one of my favorite jazz artists, and that's Gabor Szabo, and this is Magical Connection on the Blue Thumb imprint label. Really cool, great Latin-style jazz fusion. I thoroughly enjoy this record, and another one to add into the Szabo collection. And then next I have Etta James, Changes. This is her 1980 release, and I think that these records are fantastic, highly underrated, stuff that went really under the radar. It's always her 60s material that gets the shine, but she really did come out with some amazing records in the 70s and 80s, and I think that they definitely deserve to be reappraised. And then continuing on with my surf collection, this is the Jalopy 5, Dragon and Surfin' Volume 2. This was a session band based out of Nashville. Vocal surf, not my favorite. I prefer the instrumental, but I love that cover. Just some really great artwork there. And on the very unknown label Modern Sound, so just a really cool record to add to the collection. And next is a very unknown artist by Louis Bach. This is one part of the band Sirens and Titan, and I believe Louis Bach is actually a pseudonym of another person. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but this is Repetitives in Illocality, and there were only 300 copies of this ever made. It really reminds me a lot of Tangerine Dream, Brian Eno, and ECM. Very neoclassical with ambient workings, and a little abstract avant-garde. So really cool record, and you can't stream it on Spotify, but I think that you can find it on Bandcamp, and I'd highly recommend you check it out. Next is a pickup from Paramount Records, and this is Robbie Basho, Art of the Acoustic Steel String Guitar 6 and 12, and this is beautiful, beautiful acoustic guitar work by Robbie. He's blending his, international Eastern eclecticism with very traditional American sounding primitivism. So I really love this record. Also, Robbie doesn't sing too much on this one, and I'm not really one for Robbie's voice, so this really hits the spot. Really great record. And next we have Jim Brewer on the Philo label. The Philo label was a record label where it encouraged the artist to assume full control. And this is a live recording by Jim Brewer, very much in the style of folk blues. Think Big Bill Broonzy, lots of Big Bill Broonzy covers on here, and this is a really great record as far as just traditional folk blues. I would recommend it for any fan of that genre. And then next, I am adding to my Tom Waits collection, and that would be the 2017 remaster of Tom Waits' Real Gone. This was remastered by Kathleen Brennan, Tom Waits' wife, and this is a fantastic record. It kind of gets overshadowed by his other kind of comeback material from the time, such as Mule Variations, even Alice and Blood Money. But this one stands out in its own right because of the mouth percussion. He uses a lot of beatbox in this record, and it's a really, really fun sounding album. It brings in elements of Mule Variations and kind of the romanticism of Alice, so I really, really like this. I look forward to doing my Tom Waits ranking here soon, my reappraisal, and this one is definitely going to be a shock where it lands on the list for you. Then next, I picked up Young Jesus, self-titled. This came out in 2017 on Saddle Creek, and this is really great Midwest post-rock kind of emo style. I think of American football. I thoroughly enjoy this record. I picked this one up in a used bin. It was still sealed for $5, and man, I love this record. Thoroughly enjoy it. Highly recommended for anybody who hasn't given this one a listen yet. And then next I have Radio Moscow, The Great Escape of Leslie Magnifuzz. This is a really great neo-psych album. Anyone who hasn't listened to Radio Moscow, I'd highly recommend it. If you're a fan of Blue Cheer and Randy Holden, this is going to hold a lot for you to enjoy. This is just a big, giant, swinging, propulsive record, so really cool album. And then another one that has kind of been on my watch list, and really happy to pick this one up, is The Dramatics, A Dramatic Experience. I mean, look at that album artwork, just that big old Beelzebub face. Love that album artwork, and has one of my favorite anti-drug songs of all time, The Devil is Dope. This is a really great soul record released on Volt. If you're a fan of their album, What You See Is What You Get, this is going to be a great follow-up for you to check out as well. And then we're getting kind of into the heavy hitters here. This is Placebo, self-titled, their third record, and this was released in 2014 on Music on Vinyl. This was an incredibly rare Belgian jazz fusion record. Think blaxploitation, soundtrack, instrumentals, and you're pretty much in the ballpark. The original copies of this go for around $300 to $500, depending on where you're looking for. And this I picked up for $10, used as a reissue, and I'm just happy to have the music in my collection. It's such a cool record. Then I picked up Mgmt's Little Dark Age. This is a 2018 release. and one that has grown in my estimation since it was released. I never really clicked for me the first time I listened to it. I've been revisiting it, and ever since I revisited it, it's really grown on me. So really great, dark synth pop, very far removed from their early work, Oracular, Spectacular. I think that this is their best album now upon re-listening, and one that I would recommend for any fan of synth pop. Then another really great find is an original copy, US copy of McDonald and Giles. This was the other half of the original King Crimson lineup, and this was kind of what happened after that schism from In the Court of the Crimson King, and they released this record. It was the only album they ever came out with, which is a real shame because I think that they could have come out with some other really great material. It's more like Giles, and Fripp rather than King Crimson, but that's not a bad thing. I love that psychedelic jazz bend that they really bring here with a little bit of folky ambience too. So really great album, one that I'm super happy to have in the collection. And then picked this one up at Paramount Records as well. This is Aretha Franklin's Amazing Grace. This was given to me as a gift after I helped Ken move a couch, so thank you very much for this. This is a great, one of the masterpieces of gospel soul, and might be my favorite Aretha Franklin album. So really, really great. Super happy to have this one in the collection. And then finally, last is but not least, was a gift from my friend Nick, and he and I are vinyl buddies, and have been for a long time. I've been sending him a couple of records, and then he sent this back as a thank you, and I'm so happy to have this. This is the quality record pressing of Analog Productions' Beach Boys Sunflower. These are becoming even harder and harder to find. This is the 200-gram variant, and this was one that I really, really wanted. So I'm super happy to have this one in the collection. This is a great record, and one that I would highly recommend for any fan of the Beach Boys. If you want to get into stuff post Pet Sounds, this is the album to crack you into. So really, really great record. Thank you so much, Nick. So those were my vinyl finds for this second half of April. What did you see in here that you liked? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, I hope that you guys have a great day on your own personal oasis. Cheers.